The fastest way to collapse an entire business? Ship numbers to the boardroom you can't defend. One wrong KPI, one bad dashboard, one wrong report. That is how trust dies. That is how careers end. Medallion architecture isn't about data hygiene. It is about building pipelines that don't get you fired. It is about surviving the next audit, the next earnings call, the next $10 million decision. Medallion architecture is how we move from raw ingestion to business-grade intelligence without losing credibility. Bronze, silver, gold. Raw, verified, and trusted. It is not about clean versus dirty data. It is about promoting only what you can defend in a boardroom. Bronze is your ingestion layer, while you have silver is your structured data. Finally, you have gold, which is your business trusted data. All right, now that you know what each of the layers are, let's discuss who owns what and when to move data from one layer to the next. Let's start with from bronze to silver. This moves when you have parsed, interpretable schemas that you trust. Basic validation has passed. You have our metadata has been logged, and there's no obvious corruption in the data. Generally, the ownership here lies with your data engineering team. Next, from silver to gold. This is where you are handling any duplicates, you're verifying and confirming any join logic, your business metrics are being calculated, and your SLA targets and freshness audits are enforced. Now, let's get a little bit deeper into ownership here. Bronze, again, is your data engineering team. While once it gets to silver, you're talking probably your quality or your platform teams. Now, if you don't have a quality or platform team, it probably still lies with your data engineering team. Finally, you have your gold layer. This is where your BI and your analytics teams generally have the ownership. Now, again, some groups, you're just the data person and you're going to own all of it. Hopefully you have some amazing business partners that can step in and help you with some of the gold pieces. If these roles don't exist at your company, that really could be a leadership gap, and your business is at risk. In smaller orgs, your data engineer might own the bronze and the silver layer, while your data analyst is going to own the gold. That's manageable for now, but as data importance continues to grow in your business, as the data itself continues to scale, so will the consequences and the ownership. Failure to monitor the promotions from one layer to the other, and you're going to have a silent collapse of your analytics platform. Failure to assign owners, and there is invisible chaos, not knowing when an issue arises or possibly how to fix it. Worst of all, you have schema drift. When silver quietly evolves, your gold starts telling beautiful lies. And nobody notices until the CFO is standing in front of the board explaining the unexplainable. Trust isn't built at the gold layer. It is defended violently at every transition all the way through your medallion model. Let's talk about the use cases for each layer. Let's start with silver. Silver really supports your operational urgency. These are things like your daily dashboards that operations uses, your real-time supply chain alerts, and probably your call center reporting. Next, your gold layer really supports your strategic confidence. These are your investor KPI decks, your strategic executive reviews, and your M&A due diligence reporting. Confusing silver and gold is not a minor mistake. You are creating a misinformation pipeline that will lead to executive mistakes and decisions based on data that is not ready yet. These mistakes can cost you your job and your business. You're going to hear from others that dimensional modeling and medallion modeling are two different and separate things. I'm here to tell you that is not the case. Dimensional modeling is not separate from the medallion. It depends on it. If you model only on sturdy silver data, you aren't modeling insights, you are modeling illusions. Gold must survive audits, executive interrogation, and competitor challenges. That is where you're building your dimensional modeling. That is where you have things like a customer table, a date table, your products table that are all separate but individual entities that could be used across different and diverse sections of your business. If your pipelines aren't monitored, here's what happens. Strategic pivots fail, quarterly forecasts start to collapse, and auditors smell blood in the water. Lawsuits start to hit, and your company starts to incur fines that they can't afford. If you can't prove how your data set got to gold, your CFO is not going to defend you on the stand, and your board will replace you. Instrument your architecture like a war product. SLA checks, schema drift monitoring, freshness audits, or your analytics platform is going to die a slow death. Let's break down the architecture models that you'll hear pitched as modern or next gen. Each one solves a specific problem, but introduces some others. Here's how to see them clearly. Let's start out with Lambda architecture. Designed to handle batch and real-time together using separate processing paths. This is great for IoT and time-sensitive analytics, but orchestration here is brutal. You're managing two pipelines and hoping that they reconcile downstream. Next up is your Kappa architecture. This is a stream-first design. No batch layer, everything is an event. Perfect for event-driven companies with really rich metadata. But if your streams break or replay, you're just reprocessing garbage at scale. After that, we have our data vault. This is a big one right now. This is built for auditable history. It emphasizes raw data preservation with hubs, links, and satellites. Loved by financial and regulatory teams, but the modeling is complex and querying it is slow. Data mesh. This is another hot topic right now. This is a decentralized model. Each domain owns its own data pipelines, products, and SLAs. Sounds great in theory, but if your culture can't handle that shared accountability and platform maturity, it collapses quick. Event-driven architecture. Your entire data system listens to events, logs, change data capture, and APIs. It's fast, reactive, feels modern, and often feels like the right decision for your company. But if you're not validating and checkpointing all along the way, you're streaming chaos right into the hands of your C-suite executives. Pick the model that your team can govern, monitor, and heal, not the one they think is cool. Pick your riskiest gold data set, the one that is feeding the forecast, financials, and regulatory filings for your business. Audits that lineage, show the SLA compliance, and catch your schema drifts. Defend every one of those transformations that are out there. If you can't prove it now, you're not building trust. You are engineering your own public failure. This is the work that separates the amateurs from the operators, that separates dashboard pushers from strategic engineers. Keep your pipelines clean, keep them battle tested, and built for war. And if you're serious, really serious, about building pipelines that heal themselves before you even know that they're bleeding, we're building a full tactical resilience training built for leaders, built for war rooms, and built for survival. Stay tuned or stay exposed.